Hello students, in previous session we have studied the generic elements of blockchain, then block, elements of block. Also we have studied smart contract and distributed consensus. So in this session we will study the different types of blockchains, public blockchain, private blockchain and permission blockchain. So in today's session we will take the revision of previous session. Also we will revise the concept of distributed consensus, types of blockchains. There are different types of blockchains like public blockchain, private blockchain, permission blockchain. After taking the introduction of these different types of blockchains, we will summarize today's session. So students, we will keep this slide till we complete till we finish the unit 1. The unit 1 consists of overview of blockchain, public ledgers, Bitcoin, smart contracts, block in a blockchain transaction, distributed consensus, and different types of blockchains like public, private, permission blockchain. Then second part of the unit is security aspect of the blockchain, in which we have to study hash function, properties of hash function, hash pointer, Merkle tree, public key cryptography, digital signatures, and zero knowledge system. So far we have studied overview of blockchain, public ledgers, Bitcoin, smart contracts, block in a blockchain, transactions, and distributed consensus. So in today's session we have to study different types of blockchains like public blockchain, private blockchain, permission blockchain. There are different types of there are subtypes of private blockchain also. So we will take a short review. We will not go into the details, but as per the requirement of the unit 1, we have to take the introduction of these different types of blockchain networks. So first we will revise the topics that we have studied. We have studied public ledger. Public ledger is shared ledger. Every node in the blockchain has the copy of the ledger, and transactions are recorded in the ledgers. Nodes in the blockchain are sometimes referred as miners. These miners has to verify and validate the transaction. After validation of transaction is finalized and block is created and block is inserted in the blockchain. So this public ledger is a very general term. Sometimes this ledger term is used for blockchains also. These are the synonymous concept, public ledger and blockchain. Then we have studied the Bitcoin. The world come to know about the Bitcoin in 2008. The Satoshi Nakamoto, who has published white paper on Bitcoin, and from that paper people come to know about the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Then we have studied how the transactions are processed in the blockchain. We know that how the transactions are processed. If node wants to initiate a transaction, the node will sign the transaction with its private key. Then that transaction is flooded in the blockchain network. Blockchain network is a peer-to-peer network. Then for flooding the transaction, for broadcasting the transaction, it will use the gossip protocol. Then nodes will validate the transaction. Nodes are sometimes nodes in blockchain. They are referred as miners also. Miners will verify the transaction. They will validate the transaction, and after validation of the transaction, block is created. Block will contain the list of transactions, Merkle root, hash of the previous block, and then that block is appended at the end of the blockchain. Then we have studied smart contracts. We know the concept of smart contracts. Smart contracts will verify the business logic. The business will happen with some conditions, some agreements, and that agreements are verified by the smart contracts. These programs are unstoppable. These programs are automatically executed. This program, smart contract is nothing but a program that will enforce the business conditions, and if that business conditions are satisfied, if that business conditions are fulfilled, then it will allow the transaction. Then we have studied blockchain. Blockchain is a chain of blocks, and that blocks are linked through the hash values. We have studied what are the elements of blockchain. Blockchain contains there are different elements of blockchain. Address, it will store the address of sender and receiver. Then blockchain has the block. We know the elements of block. Block contains Merkle root, hash of the previous block. It contains the list of the transaction. Block will also contain the timestamp. Then there are different elements of blockchain like address, then scripting language, or you can say programming language. That programming language is required for programmers. The programmers who want to design the blockchain system using the blockchain, this programming language, the programmers can write the blockchain applications, and that applications can be executed on the node. Then it has a virtual machine, then it has a state machine, smart contracts, consensus, nonce is the value, cryptographic value. So there are the different elements, and every blockchain don't have all the elements. That depends on the design of the blockchain, how many elements the blockchain should have. That design that depends on the design of that particular blockchain. Then we know what is block. Whenever the transaction is processed, when the transaction is initiated in the blockchain network, that transaction is verified by the miners, and a block is created and block is inserted in the blockchain. There are different elements of the blockchain. Again, the elements of the blockchain depend on the design of the blockchain, but in general the blockchain has a list of transaction, timestamp, hash of the previous block. Then it will also contain the Merkle root. We know the significance of Merkle root. Merkle root contains the hash of all blocks, and when we want to verify the blockchain, there is no need to verify. When we want to verify the transaction, then there is no need to verify the individual transaction. It will contain the hash of all transaction. So verifying the Merkle root is enough to verify the validity of blocks and blockchain. Then we know the distributed consensus. So in blockchain technology, we know that the parties, whenever they agree on some transaction, then that transaction is processed. So there are different types of algorithms for agreement, that the parties will come to some final decision. So the nodes will use different types of algorithms for this purpose. There are basically two types of algorithms, BFT based algorithms and leader election algorithm. So in BFT based, how many number of messages are received, depending on that the transaction is finalized. The parties will come to some final decision, and they will agree on the state of the system. Then we have studied the leader election algorithm. In that algorithm, the leader wins the election, then leader proposes the state of the system, and the parties will agree on the state of the system proposed by the leader. So there are the broadly these algorithms are categorized into two types, BFT and leader election algorithms. So this part we have studied in the previous sessions. Now we have to study the types of blockchain. So we will take the introduction of these different types of blockchains. We will not go into the details. That is beyond the scope of this unit. In this unit we have to just take the introduction of the different types of blockchains. So in previous session we have studied distributed consensus. We will revise in short what is distributed consensus. A consensus is the process of agreement between the parties that do not trust each other, and that parties will come on some that parties will agree on some final state of the data. To achieve consensus, different algorithms are used. So whenever there is a client server architecture, in client server architecture there are only two parties, client and server, and they will easily agree or disagree on some state of the system. But when there are number of nodes, when there are number of miners in blockchain system, it is difficult to agree on some state of the system. This process of attaining the agreement or common state or value among the multiple nodes despite the failure of some nodes is known as distributed consensus. This mechanism allows the blockchain to present a single version of the truth. These blockchains, these miners, the nodes will agree on some state of the system, and when these nodes are agreed upon the nodes will agree on some state of the system, then there is no need of any central authority. So this blockchain is a decentralized network. There is no need of any central authorities. Parties will agree on some state of the system, and then that transaction is finalized. That transaction is committed, block is created, and block is added in the blockchain network. So consensus mechanism have some requirements. The requirements we have studied in previous session: agreement, all honest nodes decide on some value, termination, all honest nodes terminate execution of the consensus process when they agree on some final state of the system, when they reach some final decision. Validity: the value agreed upon by all nodes must be same as the initial value proposed by at least one node. When one node will propose a value, all nodes should agree on that value. Then fault tolerant, this consensus mechanism algorithm should be able to run in the presence of faulty or malicious nodes also. Integrity, this is the requirement that no node can make the decision more than once. Once that node will make the decision on the state of the system, the nodes will not change their decision. They will not make the decision twice. So this we have studied in the previous session also. Then there are different types of consensus mechanism. These consensus mechanisms are broadly categorized into two types: traditional Byzantine fault tolerance based consensus algorithm and leader election based consensus algorithm. In traditional Byzantine fault tolerance based algorithm, when a certain number of messages are received, then you can see when certain number of messages are received, then agreement is reached. The parties will reach to some final decision. In leader election algorithm, there is an election, and the node that wins election, that will propose a final state of the system, and all the parties will agree on the final state. So this we have studied in the previous session also. So there are different types of consensus algorithm, but there are some notable algorithms that are used for consensus mechanism. These algorithms are proof of work, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of elapsed time, proof of deposit, proof of importance, federated consensus, or federated Byzantine consensus. So there are different algorithms. There may be other algorithms also, but these are some notable algorithms. So this we will study about these algorithms in the second unit. In second unit we have to study the blockchain. Not about blockchain, we have to study the Bitcoin, and in Bitcoin we have to study these algorithms. Now the main focus of this session is types of blockchains. So students, I want to say we have to just take the introduction of these types of networks. We are not supposed to go into the details. This is beyond the scope of this unit 1. In unit 1 we have to just take the introduction of these different types of blockchains. So there are different types of blockchains like distributed ledgers, distributed ledger technology, public blockchains, private blockchains, semi-private blockchains, side chains, permission ledger, shared ledger, fully private and proprietary blockchains, tokenized blockchains, and tokenless blockchains. So among these categories, mainly we have to understand the differences between the public and private blockchain, and also permission blockchains, permission blockchains, or you can say permission ledgers. So we will start our discussion with the distributed ledger. Distributed ledger is a general term. Sometimes this distributed ledger term is used for blockchains also. We have studied in previous sessions also what is distributed ledger, and we are studying the concept of ledger from the beginning, from the very first session, because this distributed ledger is a term, synonym term for blockchain, but all the distributed ledgers are not blockchain. A critical difference between a distributed ledger and blockchain is that a distributed ledger does not necessarily consist of the blocks of the transaction. In blockchain there are blocks, but in distributed ledger there may not be blocks. That depends on the design of the ledgers. We know the concept of ledger. Ledger is a public ledger where all the transactions are recorded, and every node has a copy of the ledger. And whenever new transaction is added in the ledger, the nodes needs to verify the transaction. Again, that depends on the design of the blockchain or ledger. A blockchain is a special type of shared database that is comprised of blocks of transaction. The difference between the blockchain and ledger is that blockchain contains the blocks, and in blocks the blocks will bundle the transaction, and this block is added in the blockchain. An example of a distributed ledger that does not use blocks of transaction is i3 Corda. On the other hand, more widely known blockchain like Bitcoin and Ethereum make use of blocks to update the share database. A distributed ledger is distributed among its partitions. The ledger is distributed among partitions. It is spread across the multiple sites, multiple nodes, multiple organizations, and this type of ledger can be either private or public, depending on the design of the ledger. Then distributed ledger technology. Distributed ledger technology are permission blockchains that are shared and used between the known partition. This distributed ledger is for known partition, that the parties those know to each other, such type of participants, nodes. For that environment, this ledger technology is used. Distributed ledger technology usually serve as a shared database with all participants known and verified. In distributed ledger technology, participants are known to each other, and sometimes there is no need to verify the smart contracts in distributed ledger technology, because parties know the agreements, parties know the business logic, and they know each other. That's why they participate in this distributed ledger, and they do not have cryptocurrency or do not require mining to secure the ledger. Sometimes verification of transaction is also not required in the distributed ledger technology. Then main topic that we have to study, the differences between the public blockchain, private blockchain, and permission blockchain. So as the name suggests, public blockchains are not owned by anyone. There is no owner of the public blockchain. This blockchain is available publicly, they are open to the public. These blockchains are open to the public, and anyone can participate as a node in the decision making process. Sometimes we call miner to the nodes. See, so users may or may not be rewarded for their participations in the public blockchain. So we know that whenever the nodes miners will validate the transaction, they will get the reward. But in public blockchain, users may or may not get the reward for validation of transaction. All users of this permissionless or unpermissioned ledgers maintain a copy of the ledger on their local nodes. Every user, every node, every miner has the copy of the ledger, and use a distributed consensus mechanism to decide the state of the ledger. Bitcoin and Ethereum are both considered as public blockchain. So students try to understand the concept of this public blockchain. Public blockchains are not owned by anyone can participate in the decision making process. User will not get any reward for their participation. These public blockchains are permissionless, unpermissioned ledgers, and every user maintains a copy of the ledger on their local nodes on their machines. Then private blockchain, as the name implies, private blockchains are just private. That is, they are open only to a consortium or group of individuals or organizations who have decided to share the ledger among themselves. So this in private blockchains, this is for particular organization, this is for particular group of people. This ledger is not available, this blockchain is not available publicly. Anyone cannot participate in the blockchain, but the people of organization, group of individuals can participate in the private blockchain. And there are various blockchains now available in this category, such as Hydra chain, Quorum. Optionally, both of these blockchains can also run in public mode if required, but their primary purpose is to provide a private blockchain. So you might have got the concept of this private blockchain. This private blockchain is for a group of individuals, for a group of this is for any particular organization. Anyone cannot participate in the private blockchains. Then semi-private blockchains. With semi-private blockchains, part of the blockchain is private and part of the it is public. Some part of the blockchain is private and some part of the blockchain is public. That is still this is still just a concept today. Actually, this semi-private blockchains are not there in the real world. This concept is proposed by some researchers that some part of the blockchain may become private and some part of the blockchain may be public. With a semi-private blockchain, the private part is controlled by a group of individuals or by some organization, while the public part is open for participation by anyone. So the hybrid model can be used in scenarios where the private part of the blockchain remains internal and shared among non-participants, and the public part of the blockchain can still be used by anyone. Public part can be accessed by anyone, and private part of the blockchain remains internal to some organization, some group of people that people know each other. So this type of blockchain can also be called as semi-decentralized model. Then side chains. This is a type of private blockchains, more precisely known as Frigate side chains. This is concept whereby coins can be moved from one blockchain to the another and moved back again. So typically, these side chains include the creation of new altcoins, whereby coins are burnt as a proof of an adequate state. So burning the coins in this context means that coins are sent to an address which is unspendable, and this process makes the burnt coins irrecoverable. So this mechanism is also called proof of burn and is used as an alternative method for distributed consensus to proof of work and proof of stake. So in this side chains, the coins can be moved from one blockchain to the another blockchain, and that coins can be moved back again, and these coins are unspendable, and these coins are once the coins are burnt, that coins are recoverable. So students, we will not go into the detail for the time being of this side chains. We will just take the introduction of this side chain. We will discuss more about these side chains in the coming sessions. Then permission ledger or blockchain. As the name suggests, a permission ledger is a blockchain where participants of the network are already known and trusted. The participants know to try to understand the concept of this permission ledger. In this session, we have to basically understand the differences between public, private, and permission blockchain. There are also some subtypes of the private blockchain that we will study in detail in coming sessions. So we are mainly focused on public, private, and permission blockchain. So try to understand the concept of permission blockchain. A permission ledger is a blockchain where participants are already known. These participants are trusted. So we know that in blockchain, the parties that do not trust each other, such type of parties can participate in the blockchain. And when the unknown parties participate, then there is a need of more security in blockchain network. But in permission blockchain, these participants are trusted participants. These participants know each other, and permission ledgers do not need to use a distributed consensus mechanism. Sometimes there is no need of distributed consensus mechanism. There is no need of agreement between the participants, because participants are trusted participants. Participants know to each other. Instead, an agreement protocol is used to maintain a shared version of the truth about the state of the records on the blockchain. So in this case, for verification of transaction on the chain, all verifiers are already pre-selected by central authority. So central authority will select the verifiers, and typically there is no need for a mining mechanism. There is no need for consensus mechanism in this permission ledger. You try to understand this major difference. There is no need of consensus mechanism because parties know to each other. Verified transactions are sent to the verified nodes, and they will use a these node transactions are sent by the central authority. So by definition, there is also no requirement for a permission blockchain to be private, as it can be public blockchain but with regulated access control. This blockchain is controlled by the central authority. For example, Bitcoin can become a permission ledger if an access control layer is introduced on the top of the and that access control layer will verify the identity of a user and then allows the access to the blockchain. So if we add one more layer, that will verify the identity of the user, and if the participant is trusted participant, if the participant is already known participant, then that blockchain will become the permission blockchain. Shared ledger, already we know this is the broad term, and this term is used for blockchains also. This is a generic term that is used to describe any application or database that is shared by the public or consortium. Generally, all blockchains fall into the category of shared ledger. All the blockchains are shared ledgers. Ledger is the public ledger where all the transactions are recorded and the transactions are verified if the parties do not trust each other. And if parties are already known, trusted parties, then it will become a permissioned blockchain. Then there is other type of blockchain, fully private and proprietary blockchain. So there is no mainstream, there is no any application, real world application of this blockchain. This is proposed theoretically, but actually there is no implementation of such kind of this fully private and proprietary blockchain. So in this fully private blockchains, there is no mainstream application of these types of blockchains, as they deviate from the core concept of decentralized. In blockchain, the blockchain chains are decentralized network, but this is against the concept of decentralized. This will become a private blockchain. In some specific organization, there could be a need to share the data among the known participants and provide some level of guarantee of the authenticity of the data. So an example of this type of blockchain might be to allow for collaboration and sharing data between the various government departments. And in this government department, participants are already known, participants are already verified. So there is no need of consensus mechanism, there is no need of smart contracts also, and this net type of blockchain will become a completely private blockchain. So in that case, no complex consensus mechanism is required apart from simple state machine replication and agreement protocol with non-central validators. There is a central party that will control the operations, and that central party will send the transactions for verification to the nodes. So even in private blockchains, tokens are not really required, but they can be used as a means of transferring value or representing some real world asset. So there is one more type of blockchain, that is tokenized blockchain. These blockchains are standard blockchains that generate cryptocurrency. As a result of consensus process via mining or initial distribution. Bitcoin, Ethereum are prime examples of this type of blockchain. So these blockchains are standard blockchains that generate a cryptocurrency as a result of for consensus mechanism. For mining, for verification, they will use the cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin and Ethereum are examples of this type of blockchain. Then tokenless blockchains. These blockchains are designed in such a way that they do not have the basic unit for the transfer of value. They do not have any unit like cryptocurrency to transfer the value, to transfer the asset between the nodes. However, they are still valuable in situations when there is no need to transfer value between the nodes, and only sharing of data among various trusted parties is required. So when there is no need of transferring any cash, any digital cash, any cryptocurrency, then if you want to only share the data in such kind of environments, this tokenless blockchains can be used. In this tokenless blockchain, the parties are trusted parties. Parties are already known, parties are already verified. So this is similar to full private blockchain, where the parties are already known, parties are already verified, parties trust each other. The only difference being that use of tokens is not required. This can also be thought of as a shared distributed ledger used for storing the data or for sharing the data. So it does have its benefits when it comes to immutability. All the benefits of blockchain are applicable to this tokenless blockchain, and this blockchains can be used for sharing of data among the participants. The properties of blockchains like immutability, security, and consensus-driven updates, but are not used for common blockchain applications of value transfer or cryptocurrency. So these are the different types of blockchains. So in this session we have taken the revision of previous session, we have taken the revision of distributed consensus, then we have studied the different types of blockchains like public blockchain, private blockchain, permission blockchain. So I request to the students concentrate on the differences between the public blockchain, private blockchain, and permission blockchain. There are different types of blockchain. Some blockchains are proposed, but actually they are not implemented in the real world. They are conceptually, theoretically proposed. The aim of this session was to take the introduction of this public, private, and permission blockchain. So today we will